let's look at a Spellcaster deck. So come and join me down here. Okie dokie. Well, just to fit the profile, obviously, we also have the Shining Darkness sneak peek game mat down here. So we're gonna start with the creatures that we got in the deck. We got 3 Breaker, the Magical Warrior. It was an absolute blast when it came out back in the days. First of all, it's a 1900 attacker, of course, for a normal summon. And you can remove the spell counter that it comes with, and you can basically destroy a trap card on the field. So this is our starting point. We do have 2 Crusaders of Endymion, which is a Gemini card, 1900 attack, again normal summon, 4-star creature. You can special summon it the turn after you played it, and once per turn you can place a spell counter on a face-up card on the field that you can place a spell counter on, and if you do that, this card gains 600 attack until the end of the phase. So basically it comes down as a 1900 attacker, which is already pretty good on its own, but it can be a 2500 attacker, and it also allows you to put this very important spell counters on the cards that we've got in the deck. So there you go. That's Crusader of Endymion. That was Breaker, the Magical Warrior. And then we got 3 magical exemplars here. She's a 1700 attacker, again a normal summon. And she basically, every time we play a spell card, we can place 2 spell counters on this card, and once per turn we can remove any number of spell counters and special summon a Spellcaster type monster from our hand or graveyard, very importantly, whose level is equal to the number of spell counters we removed from. So magical exemplar, not only a 1700 beater, which is already very, very good, it also allows us to put more spell counters down. Special summon more spell counters, and of course we are more than happy to get more spell counters down, spell casters down even. We got 3 Defender, the Magical Knight here. Very chunky little defender with 2000 defense. Again, a normal summon. If you normal summon Defender, the Magical Knight, you can place 1 spell counter on it, and once per turn, if a face-up spellcaster type monster on the field will be destroyed, you can remove 1 spell counter from a card you control for each of those monsters instead. So a very, very good defender. That's exactly what we need. You can either normal summon him or flip summon him if, of course, you want down a 2000 defender. You have flexibility with this card. Excellent, excellent. We got 2 Royal Magical Libraries, primarily for the card draw effect. If we have 3 spell counters on this, we can remove them to draw a card. But also a 2000 defender, no attacks, excellent to flip summon again, surprise our opponent a little bit. And then we got 2 Endymion, the Master Magician, which can be special summoned from your hand or graveyard by removing 6 spell counters from a magical citadel of Endymion you control. And of course we have 3 copies of that. When you do that, add 1 spell card from your graveyard to your hand, and once per turn you can discard 1 spell card to destroy 1 card on the field. So this is an absolute beast. If this comes down, we very much should be in control of the game. We got 3 magical marionettes, because we will be able to special summon this guy. It has an attack of 2000, but it would normally cost you 1 tribute to be able to summon it, but we have some ways around it. And of course, each time a spell card is activated, place 1 spell counter on this card. This card gains 200 attack for each spell counter on it. You can remove 2 spell counters from this card to destroy 1 monster on the field. So it's not only a 2000 attack beater, it's also a very effective, efficient removal monster, and we love that very much. We also do some synchro summons in this deck. I know it's an old thing, and I don't think many decks do it nowadays. But again, when I played this deck, that was many years ago, 2010, I think, when I was playing with this deck. Probably the Spellcaster starter was printed even before that. Anyway, Knights and Sorcerer, a very good tuner. Um, when he's special summoned, you can basically remove 2 cards from your opponent's graveyard. That's not really what we're interested in about. It's a tuner, it's a spellcaster, it's got 1300 attack even, and it gives us 2 stars for our tuner fusion. The thing with tuner fusion is that you have to be exact with the number of stars when you tune fusion, and one monster must be a tuner, the other one can be whatever it is. So if you have a Knights and Sorcerer down and a Magical Marionette, you can tune for a 7-star monster. And if you have one guys with 4 down, then we can tune for a 6-star monster. And we only have 6 and 7-star tuners in our special summon deck. So down to the spell cards, because obviously we are spellcasters. Of course we want to have magic cards, spell cards. This is one of the old cards actually. If you look at it, this one still says magic there. It's also in excellent shape for some of the cards. I think this comes from the Pegasus starter. It does indeed. So Graceful Charity, of course, it's a banned card. It allows you to draw 3 cards and discard 2 from your hand, which is exactly what we want to do. We definitely want to have more cards in our hands, and we don't mind if we have a few additional ones in our graveyard, particularly with Endymion. We can bring some spell cards back into our hands. So we got 1 Graceful Charity. Again, you could not play this in any legal tournament, but it's an absolutely amazing card. And you know, card games are down there. We have card games to have fun. So why not put a lonely graceful charity in the deck, where we're not using it for any combos, nothing like that. Let's just have a bit of fun. So 1 graceful charity. We also have 1 Swords of Revealing Light, which basically stops our opponent from attacking for 3 turns. If you watch the Yu-Gi-Oh series first season, obviously one of Yu-Gi's favorite cards. We have 1 copy of Solidarity. All our cards are Spellcaster. All our face-up monsters that are spellcasters get plus 800 attack for 1 attack. So we got 1 copy of that. We got 1 Mystical Space Typhoon, because we want to be able to remove spell or trap cards, or magic or trap cards, as this one says. Again, another old version where it still says magic card. These are the one-offs, and then we got 3 copies of Magical Citadel of Endymion. Not only is this very good if you want to special summon our Endymion card, what's his name? Endymion the Master and Magician, but also you can store your spell counters on this card from any other card that leaves the battlefield, and you can remove 6 spell counters from this card. Is it 6? No, sorry, I'm telling a lie. If this card will be destroyed, you can remove 1 spell counter from this card instead, so very difficult to get rid of it, which is also very good. It definitely helps us a lot to store our counters, and also to special summon one of our big dudes. We got 3 Magical Dimension. Again, excellent spell card. We can play it as a quick effect during our opponent's turn. Activate only while you control a spellcaster type monster. Tribute 1 monster and special summon 1 spellcaster type monster from your hand. Then you can destroy 1 monster on the field. So this is the alternate option to get out either our Magical Marionette, or to get out our Endymion onto the field without having to do anything extra special. Magical Dimension is also a very good removal. Of course, you want to be able to remove our opponent's creatures. We got 3 Spell Power Grasp, which basically allows us to put a spell counter on a card, and also we can search for another copy of this from our in our deck, put it into our hand. You can only use 1 of these a turn, but it will give you really good acceleration. And of course, let's not forget that we do definitely want these spell counters. And then we got 2 Hand Destruction to get some more cards on the go. Discard 2, draw 2 for you and the opponent. So it's a symmetrical effect, but it can surprise your opponent if you do it in their turn, particularly if they have a very low card account in their hands. I run one Pitch Black Power Stone. This is more for sentimental reason than for anything else. I just really like the artwork of it, but it's also great that it allows you to basically tap into this card for a few turns and get an additional spell counter off it. But it's really more for the artwork. I think it's pretty great. And we got 3 Magician's Circle, which also allows us to, well, basically when we're attacked, we can special summon. Each player special summons one spellcaster type monster with 2000 or less attack from their deck in face-up attack positions. This is our primary way to get out our magical marionette, and we're not really banking on most of our opponents playing spellcaster, so this should be pretty one-sided, even though it is a symmetric effect. We are playing with spellcasters, our opponent is not. So this is it for the basic deck, and then just for the tuner cards, it's not a full side deck, but we got 2 explosive magicians. We can tune into this guy, and we can remove 2 spell counters from your side of the field to select and destroy 1 spell or trap card your opponent controls. So explosive magicians, very good if our opponent has an abundance of strong spell cards. We got 2 Arcanite Magician. For this one, we need to have the magical marionette to tune in with the Knights and Sorcerer because it costs 7 stars. But if it's synchro summon, you can place 2 spell counters on it. This card gains 1000 attack for each spell counter on it. You can remove 1 spell counter from the field and target 1 card your opponent controls, and you can destroy that card. So it's basically an all-round removal. Magician, it comes down with 2400 attack, but you can put more spell counters on it, so you can basically make it as big as possible. So Arcanite Magician, excellent tuner option. And then we got 3 Tempest Magicians. Our last tuners that I currently run. Obviously there's space for more. When this card is synchro summon, place 1 spell counter on it. Once per turn, you can discard any number of cards to place 1 spell counter on a monster you control. For each card you discarded, you can remove all spell counters on the field to inflict 500 damage to your opponent for each removed spell counter. So basically, Tempest Magician is more of a finisher than anything else. If you have the opportunity to ramp up all your spell counters, you bring out Tempest Magician. Pretty easy to do so. You just have to have your Knights and Sorcerer and another basic normal summon creature in play. Bring Tempest Magician down. If you have about 6 counters on your Magical Citadel, that's 3000 damage right into the face, and that can just be a that can wrap the game up really. So this is it.